Well, folks, it's time for another announcement. So good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world today. I've got a really good expert guest panel, and I'm going to introduce them to you in just a moment. Just want to say that a lot's happened this day. We're going to do a recap of the latest news. I think it's safe to call it news at this point because the leaks that have come out leave very little doubt as to what is going to be announced and what it's going to shape up to be. So I'm going to take you down to the announcement hour. It's going to happen at 1 a.m. That's when Canon's going to do their announcement of the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, as well as the RF 45mm f1.2 STM. And to bring you that, we're going to have a lively discussion from multiple viewpoints. And I'd like to introduce our first guest, Jared Hoyman. He is a real estate agent, a real estate photographer, videographer, and he has some really interesting gear. Jared, thank you for joining the Expert Guest Live panel again for another announcement.
It's nice to be labeled as an expert. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And how are things going for you today?
Good. It's not as late here as it is there. It's
Yes.
about 10:46 here. So not bad, but full day real estate, photography, and videography is going pretty good. When the market goes down, I get busier. So it's not bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a pretty busy day at the office as well, but then I also had 3 videos to put out, which was absolutely crazy. And I got one for tomorrow, which will be tomorrow soon, and Friday as well. So, Jared, it's great to have you back with us. Now, just to give people an idea of what you shoot with, what kind of gear do you shoot with on a regular basis, and what's your favorite lens?
It's all Canon. So I am a Canon fanboy. Because I'm virtue signaling right here. So actually, the 14 to 35 f4 does live on my Canon R5 II at all times. So I shoot the photography end of things when it comes to real estate and architecture with that lens. I do have a 15 to 35 2.8, but it actually has been living on my R7, which is looking at me right now at 2.8. And then I do have, see if I can reach blindly, my C80, which is, it's beautiful. And I've been balancing this nicely on the RS4 Pro, the DJI, for video walkthroughs. And the lens that I recommend to anybody that's been watching my channel, it was the 14 to 35, which is great for video walkthroughs. But if you go 10 millimeters with this Laowa, that is, this is so immersive when going right through properties. It's been great. And then I've been using the 50 1.4 RF L series VCM lens for detailed shots. I do have an 85, but it's been the 50 for more of those detailed B shots in those walkthroughs.
Terrific. And guys, this is now, I had James' page up before. Please do me a favor. All these guests here are here to spend time with you. Check out Jared's channel. One thing that struck me about Jared is his sense of humor in his videos. Not only do you learn something, but you have a good time watching it as well with his sense of humor. So Jared, it's great to have you back on the show. And now,
good to be here.
Let's welcome back longest running guest. I think you were here with one of my first ones, James. James, how are things?
Like Jared is busy. First, I want to continue on the praise for Jared because he put out a video recently about things that we as filmmakers should look out financially for, and I completely in line with a lot of the things that Jared talked about there. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go into his channel. It's very, very important that we make sure us freelancers and us filmmakers be able to keep our budgets tight and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's busy. I know people have already brought up some people brought up in the comments about this. I actually I literally came home from a gala that my wife was invited to, and literally just got the studio up and running. So it's been a busy day for me as well. I've got quite a few things to get ready to talk about tomorrow on my weekly live stream. This Canon announcement being one of the big ones, but there's a few other announcements from other companies that were announced today, or other things. Simon, I've sort of shown you a little bit in the preview, but I'm really excited. Really excited to do this. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you, Simon. Yeah, it's been a long run, and every single time it's always been a pleasure. So I'm always grateful that you have me here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. And I'd like you to tell my audience, those who aren't familiar with you, what kind of work you do and what kind of gear you work with. Because I think this is important, both you and Jared doing videography type work. When we see the shift of the R6 Mark III, this update really does have an awful lot of video first capability. So,
so basically, I am a working filmmaker. I'm primarily a director of photography, cinematographer. I have my own production company called Deluminous Productions. We're based out in the Philadelphia area. Basically, we do a lot of commercials. We do mainly docs, but we also do commercials and some corporate videos as well. Um, so before I get into the gear that I use, I want to just sit here and say I have no brand loyalty to anybody. Uh, I primarily have came up on Canon. Started out with the the Canon 7D. That was my very first camera. Worked up through the Canon cinema lines of the C100, the C200. On the RF, when RF started to come out, I got the R5, and then I got the Canon C70. But since then, I am now primarily shooting on a Sony FX3. That's one of my main workhorses, but the other one is a Blackmagic cinema camera, 6K. Um, so those have been my main workhorses right now, but that's probably going to change very soon, and I'll just leave it at that.
well, perfect. Yeah.
With the R6 III. Oh.
No spoilers. I may tease it at the end, but I want to give Canon some joy for the time being.
And let's get him up to 10,000 subs, guys. So speaks words me not. It is late here and I didn't sleep last night, so I'm going to fumble a few times here, and there's no edit to go back over it. So again, take a look at James' channel, subscribe, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of really good content there. Okay, I want to welcome back a guest, a neighbor, Brian Weiss. He's been on the channel once or a couple of times before. But then for some reason, because I do this, I'll forget, who should I invite on? I'm thinking, like, what are we covering? Who do I want to have on? And so it's been a few months since we had Brian on. Brian, are you still there? We've just got, are you outside? It's dark. Oh, we don't see anything. Are you there?
It's my camera. You know how things go. Here we go. That should be, I don't know. Anyway, I'm here. It's showing me that it should be working, but you know, technology is a fantastic thing.
Well, maybe you need a new camera.
I think I do. This DJI Osmo is just cutting out on me here.
Maybe an R6 Mark III?
Maybe. I can work on that.
Maybe.
Let's see how.
Well, Brian, tell us a little bit about what you do, what kind of cameras you shoot with, to kind of help set the scene.
Well, I should not be shooting with a DJI Osmo, is what I should not be using. Apparently, it's what I am using. So yeah, I'm a Nikon shooter, actually. I had the Nikon set up here before, but it was a little too compressed, I guess, for the stream. I love photography. I'm not a video guy in general. I'm a camera salesman, a photographer, an educator, I guess you can say. I've run Day Trip with Photos since 2006. Teaching photography all over Ontario, different group workshops and one-on-one sessions and so on. I've been at Henry's Camera here in Newmarket since 19 years now, almost 20 years. And it's a long time I've been selling cameras, you know. I've started a show called the Weekly Briangle Report, talking about photography. I don't usually have these camera problems on my weekly show, just saying. And it airs every Wednesday live at 5 o'clock. And actually, this coming Wednesday is the first time that I'll be on the Henry's YouTube channel. So that's a pretty big thing for me. I'm pretty excited about that. I've also started a business called Ether Sports Photography, where I'm shooting portraiture for like hockey teams and sports teams, rolling fire and smoke and all kinds of cool effects into it. But other than that, I'm just not a really super technical guy, as you could probably tell by my amazing camera right now. And aside from that, yeah, I'm really happy that you invited me back. I'm probably going to hang up and come back in, and that's probably the only way you're going to see my video. But I thought I would get through this intro and say thank you. And I've met you, James, before on one of these before. But Jared, it's really nice to meet you, and I
You
can't wait
too.
to see
Yeah.
what we're talking tonight.
Did
All
you
right.
say, let me ask Brian a question quick. So did
Yep.
you say you do sports photography and wildlife, or you're getting into sports?
Well, I've been teaching wildlife photography with Day Tripper Photo for
Okay.
since I started teaching that stuff. So birds of prey and things like that. I've done all kinds of workshops on those. I love wildlife photography, and it's kind of where I started. But my wildlife I shoot these days are pro wrestlers, and
Yeah.
you know that floats my boat a little bit more. You get the drama, you get the stories, you get all kinds of really dynamic moments, and I really click with the people in the world of pro wrestling, and I've had so much fun doing it since 2007 now.
Sounds like you could do a documentary on it.
If I were more into the video side of things, that would be. I have a lot of access, so that would be really
Mhm.
cool. But there are so many people that do behind the scenes wrestling docs these days that I don't think my voice needs to be in that. My voice is purely the still images created during the matches and promo photos and so on and so forth.
Mhm. Cool.
All right, Brian. So get that fixed and come right on back, and I'll
You got it.
set the stage set for the words speak me not again. So I've done 3 videos today, guys. This has been leaking fast and furious, and the leak started about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And you're back. You're back. We can see you.
So fast. Look at that.
I'm sorry?
Yay.
We can't hear you.
Oh, what? Really?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You got to be that guy.
Oh,
Oh,
Good one.
man.
Good one. But bum.
Sorry about that. So, folks, it's been a busy day, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here because we've all seen these, right? And normally this is all we've got to tease about, and then I've got something I just got. Well, this time around, we kind of got these leaked specifications, and they're alleged specifications, but pretty much everything here is bang on. I'm going to show you why, because if you haven't seen the latest 2 videos I put out, we have the leaked images of the R6 Mark III in high resolution. I can zoom in on these, and look, you can read it. It's crystal clear. So we've got the images, but not only that, look at this. We have technical specifications. I've never before had this level of detail. And again, we can zoom in on these, and it's not like low resolution stuff. I'm really surprised. I think somebody at Canon's going to be having a bit of a, how did this happen? But, and in a way, this,
should have
When I
paid the
put out-
fax machine guy.
no, it is better than fax. I actually I wasn't comfortable doing the last video because I thought like, I don't feel like I want to put this out, but I have to because somebody's covered it, right? But it's just like, when I put out the rumors, if I have an image, I don't necessarily want to put it out there. I want to talk to it. So you guys aren't 100% sure that the source is right, and there's still a bit of mystery, but this time there isn't any mystery. So I'll jump up here. We'll leave these on the screen for a bit. I just want to do one little plug here. And if you are interested in pre-ordering the Canon EOS R6 Mark III or the 45mm f1.2 STM, I've got the links down below. I don't do sponsorships. It's one of the ways that I keep the lights on. So I've got links now to not only the United States, but Germany and the UK. So UK and the rest of Europe. So
And I have links on my site for every country. So you can, I'm just joking. I don't have any links out there. I was just messing with you.
I was just going to say, I've got no
yeah,
links.
I got
don't.
So, hey, I want to interject a little
Yes.
bit on this because I have been working all day and busy and haven't even looked at anything from maybe yesterday, what's hitting. But I'm more excited about the 45 1.2. And I actually had my camera store pre-order it for me already. So they know me too well. So they did pre-order that. I think this is my hope. I'm hoping that just like when the C50 was just announced and we were doing all of that, I'm hoping there's some firmware updated information for the future that's coming out, maybe for the R5 II, but that would coincide with the OpenGate, because maybe they will say, hey, look, we're introducing OpenGate to the R5 II as well in a firmware update, because obviously it's capable of doing all of that, even if it's limited. So I'm still hopeful that with this announcement, there'll be some hidden stuff that we don't know, and maybe that's out there.
Well, some of the details behind these, but I think at this point, it's pretty obvious what it can do. And for anybody out there who's a little unsure of what OpenGate is, essentially it captures everything from the sensor. It doesn't throw anything away. It leaves it up to the shooter to basically choose what they want to throw out. It's kind of like RAW on steroids. But in terms of, like the R5 II, I kind of saw this as a video first camera, but it isn't, because there's one other big change on the photo side of things. Now, Brian, what is the Z6 Mark III? What's the resolution on that? Is it
It's 24 megapixels.
24 megapixels? Yeah. So Sony's at 33, and every time I cover the R1, the R6 Mark I, the R6 Mark II, 24 megapixels, I'm not getting it. I can't do anything with that. So this time around, for those who weren't happy with 24 megapixels, it's now 32.5 is the effective from 34.2, the full OpenGate. So as a photographer, you're getting a big boost there. Outside of that, same EVF, same LCD, 14-bit RAW shooting. Not a whole lot I see on the photo side, but the video specifications, Canon's kind of jumped out there. According to the alleged specifications, it's got OpenGate, it's got something that Nikon has had for years, such as CF Express Type B cards. They've improved the IBIS, which is good for photos as well, so 8.5 stops. What are some of the things that caught your attention? Jared, what are some of the things that caught your attention here in terms of the specs? I know
I had to pay attention. So I've owned the R6. I pre-ordered the R6. I pre-ordered the R6 II. Pre-ordered the R5 II. This is like kind of the first one that I haven't pre-ordered. And funny enough, I did, though, pre-order after our whole stream last time, the C50. But I'm still up in the air because I almost have pre-order buyer's remorse on that because of this. And did I black out? I don't know if I'm still on the screen or not.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, I am. Okay.
You're
My
still
camera
here.
went out.
No, you're still here.
But I'm just, I don't know. I kind of want to, I got to gather my thoughts on this, because maybe I should pre-order the R6 II. I'm looking for a camera that fits in between my C80 and my R5 II. So I have a backup for video and I have a backup for photography. And I dropped my R5 II a couple months ago. Still works, but the LCD screen is bent, not shattered, but bent. And I want to send it in, but I need a backup camera. And so I'm kind of thinking the R6 II or the C50 will be perfect for that. How much do I need the photography end? And if I want to use the photography end more, then probably the R6 II. And if it doesn't matter, then the C50. But I will tell you, going to a cinema menu, I didn't realize I would like it this much. And actually, maybe you could answer this. Is there a stop or a fast slow option with the R6 III?
There is.
I heard
there is, I believe.
Okay.
At least on the Canon rumor things I saw, there was that. But it's indicative of the frame rate option. Like, it's not like, basically, like if you choose 24 frames a second, it's going to give you the 4 times, 5 times. So there's not like you're not going to be able to choose various types of frame rates. You're going to choose
so in the C80, I could do, and this is what I utilize all the time, and I love it. And I don't want the audio because I'm doing slow motion for a purpose with real estate. And so I am doing it slow. So it's 60, slow down to 24 in camera, or 23.98. And so I love it because then the file's done. I don't have to slow it in post. It's all good to go. And I love it. But if the R6 II did something similar, I can see why a lot of people would want that. 3, my apologies. I'm living in the past.
I completely forgot my point. I was ready to go with something and then completely lost it. As soon as I said the
Simon,
3, because you keep saying 2, and I'm going like 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm tired
and just,
too.
yeah, we all tired. Just to clarify again on the open gate,
Yes.
as Simon pointed out, it's basically it reads out the whole sensor, but the the perception is that it means that it's a tall sensor, which doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It just means it reads out the whole sensor.
Yeah,
So
3x2.
technically, the C70 has an open gate sensor because it lets you use the full sensor because
Mhm.
the C70 sensor is a 17:9 sensor. Same with the C500 and the C Mark II and the C300 Mark III. Those are 17:9 sensors, and they let you shoot the whole sensor. So technically, those are open gate. They just don't call it that. But that is in terms of the film world, it just means you use the whole sensor, regardless of the aspect ratio of that sensor is.
Yep.
Mhm.
We got a question from our audience from Mason. Brian, the question is, do you guys think there's going to be any issues with the R6 Mark III, like the launch of the R5 Mark II with the autofocus issues? So do you think there could be potentially any issues on the release with firmware 1.0.0?
Absolutely, there could be.
I'd
Sure,
be a betting
why not?
man and say,
I mean, there could be, but there also could not be. I wouldn't think there would be. I just wanted to touch on the open gate one more
Yep.
point. How
Mhm.
I think what's being missed here in translation is the benefit. So the benefit of open gate is you can shoot once and choose how you use your footage after the fact. So you can go to horizontal, you can go to vertical, you can choose if you're going to be streaming on like a 16:9 story on Instagram or showing a 16:9 wide stream cinematic image horizontally. So you record once, but you can use it in multiple ways afterward. I think that's
Which is
the big
huge
point
in
of
real
open gate.
estate. In real estate, that's exactly what we'd want because then you have options of reframing or going into Instagram or do a YouTube short with it or on Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
And
think
that's the point that I think that was missed.
I
I
think the whole
decided.
point is that that's not necessarily open gate. That's just for those cameras that have a 3.2 sensor. Not every camera has a 3.2 sensor, and it's still an open gate camera, even though it doesn't have a 3.2 or 4x3 sensor. It
Yeah,
could
it's
be a
just the full
16:9
sensor. Yep.
sensor, and it's still an open gate camera. So you would still have the same things as if you were just shooting 16:9, like an FX3 or an R5 Mark II. It all depends on what is the sensor, the size of the sensor of the camera. That's my whole thing. So because people just assume open gate, oh, that means you can shoot horizontally and vertically. I'm like, I mean, you could do that 16:9 too. If the sensor is 16:9, that's still open gate. For example, Blackmagic's 17K camera, it's a 2:1 sensor. But it still shoots open gate. So it's a very wide sensor. But if you were to go vertical, you would lose a lot of information, but it's still an open gate. So I don't want people to have that confusion that open gate just means you're getting a tall sensor. That's not necessarily the case.
No, it just lets you choose what you capture it and export and use.
Exactly.
It after
Yeah.
the fact. Yeah.
It just uses the whole sensor.
And I also was looking at the questions, and I saw Greenlight Studios asked a question about tariffs. I think it's a good thing to touch on. I was notified that in Canada, at least, and that's where Simon and I are, there's some manufacturers that do route through the States, like Sony, but Nikon, Canon, I think Pentax as well, Ricoh, they don't go through any kind of United States distribution. So we shouldn't be hit on tariffs here in Canada for those
however,
cameras.
we do have a 70-cent dollar as of yesterday. So there's that.
And then there's that.
So it's like having tariffs.
Yeah.
Shake this.
But there's another question that just came in, and I think this is one of the best questions to really start off a very vigorous discussion here. I'm trying to find it, but the question was, I have the R6 Mark I. I'm a photographer. Should I upgrade to the R6 III? And we can also say if I have the R6 II as well, who wants to run with that? Who wants to start with that one?
Ooh, Mysticata. Ooh.
Go ahead.
My Arnold.
I don't. Maybe half our audience got that.
I don't think many people did.
I got
I
it,
did.
but
Welcome back. Anyway, so when you're talking about photography, one of the biggest improvements you're going to notice with that, I think, will be focus. Having what it says, apparently, what it's going to have, the dual pixel autofocus 2 in your schematic there. That's drawing from the R5 II focus system. And the R5 II has this AI tech that will actually track a ball movement instead of a player if you're shooting sports, if you set it up right. So you can
I
actually
thought you
have it
said a
track a soccer
bowel
ball.
movement.
Well, that too, but that's a different technique.
It tracks my bowel movements. Oh.
Well, it is a Canon. Anyway.
Oh!
Sorry, had to.
Fire.
But no, if the focusing is improved to the point of the quality of an R5 II, I think that's a huge improvement. I have a really good customer who shoots F1 racing and a lot of motorsports. And he says that the tracking on the R5 II has improved his photography. And he has like an R1 and an R3. And he says they're phenomenal as well. But this R5 II really made him excited. So if the R6 III is going to have that stuff, I think that's going to be the biggest improvement. And it's going to be like for me in the world of Nikon, where they went from the Z6 to the Z6 II, and now the 3. From the 2 to the 3 is night and day for focus, night and day. And I think this is going to be a very generational improvement in focusing from the 2 to the 3.
But what's the cripple on it? Because they can't butcher the R5 II. So
No digic.
obviously so there's got to be something
Resolution.
in there.
It's resolution. I mean, you
No
go to an
digic
R5
accelerator.
for
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, and it's not backlit, so you don't have the stack sensor either.
Yeah, and also
Yep.
I guess for photographers, another benefit of going from the R1 to the R3, the R6 one to the R6 III, is the fact that if I correct me if I'm wrong, the R6 one didn't have a CF Express; it was just still SD cards. So this
Correct.
new one is also going to go to CF Express Type B, which are much faster. The buffer will clear much quicker, and the shoot experience should improve quite a bit from the photography side.
Next question is from Brett. And again, this is another one to really spark a conversation. Brian, you might even love this. You've probably heard this hundreds of times. Any recommendations on a first camera? I want to be able to print and mount on a wall. A1 II size. Debating Sony, Canon, and have been looking at the R5 Mark II, the R3, and the R1. And I'm willing to spend $10K all in.
First camera and $10K. My first digital camera was a T2i.
And you know what? Gosh. You can print a 16 by 20 with that, no problem.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
you can. And I think that's the real sticking point on this question. It doesn't give enough information to properly recommend a camera. It's not saying what you're using the camera for. It's saying you just want to print. And realistically,
lenses. Invest in lenses. Yeah.
Good lenses.
Yeah,
but
I actually was going to bring up, like, if you got 10K, I would not throw all of it don't throw all that 10K into the camera. I'm gonna just say that right now.
Donate 5 of it to me.
There's a specific rule that I personally follow, and that is that fact that whatever my budget I'm budgeting to, especially if I'm starting out, I'm spending no more than a third of my budget on a camera, and I'm spending at least a third of my budget on lighting, primarily, but depending on what you use, other accessories as well, because lighting and lenses are going to affect your image and your quality of work significantly more than any camera that you choose. There's certain things that may have some finite, like the speed that a camera shoots, sometimes resolution, but to a certain point, resolution is kind of like a law of degradation at some point. Again, unless you're like blowing up for like large billboards or something like that. In terms of photography, for me, it's more about being able to have more control of the scene and sort of the look that you want to help build what your specific look. Finding your voice for your specific look is, to me, more valuable. It will go farther for you than a camera, or like a super high-end camera.
I've got 2 sayings that can help emphasize that point. Number 1, You date the body, you marry the lens. Number two, the camera's your tool, the lens is your personality. So when it comes down to making images, I think, Jared, you hit the nail on the head. Get lenses. That's the important part. Invest your
Yeah.
money there. Lighting is super important for video. And again, James, I know you're a production and producer and you make a lot of video and so on and so forth. But if the question is for photography, all lens, spend money on a good camera that's going to do what you need it to do. Don't worry about the pixels as much as you might think, but focus more on what you're using the camera for. If it's low light, less pixels. If it's portraiture, landscape, extreme cropping, more pixels. If you're going to be shooting wildlife and you want to be able to shoot at high ISO but crop in your photo like crazy afterward and still print large, more pixels. It even helps you with the noise removal. So I think there's more to it than just spending money on a body.
Brian and team, Brett did follow up and said he likes to shoot landscapes, waterfalls, and car shoots.
I think resolution is the way to go myself for that. You're not shooting at high ISO in general, right? A car shoots, you can use a tripod and low ISO, car's not moving, landscape's not moving. So if you're shooting low ISO and you're wanting extreme detail, something with resolution. So the R5, I would say, R5 II, or something along those lines. That's my opinion.
So I see that Jarrell. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to interrupt. I saw that Jarrell is in the chat, and I was watching him the other day, and he name dropped you, Simon, the other day. He wasn't sure if you were in Canada, and then they made fun of Canadians.
No way,
which is okay because I'm not Canadian, so I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny.
That's an American.
But anyways, that is a Canon ally that we can bring on here. So that is a fanboy that could be part of this. Just saying.
Okay, no, you know what, guys? He's not here. I actually thought of inviting him, but when you get too many guests, it just becomes a little crazy. You don't have enough time for chemistry to develop, and people don't have enough time to speak. So it would be nice to have Jarrell on the channel. Another question from Sean. I think this is. We can kind of almost guess where this one's going, and it's just faded away. What are your thoughts on overheating with the R6 Mark III? That depends. So we've been told, the rumors were kind of all over the place, and it was saying that there was some passive cooling, and we really don't. That's one thing that hasn't really kind of solidified. It's going to be a whole lot better than the Mark I was. That was terrible. Now, did I see something here? Because so much stuff flew by in the last few days. There was some talk that it was going to have some sort of passive cooling like the R5 Mark II does. It has essentially heat pipes. It's like one pipe and then a giant ballroom and then another heat pipe on the out. You stick on the battery grip that I have and then it can send air through it. So that's really handy. So if it has heat pipes, then you.
By the way, this is one of my biggest regrets buying because I never use it. It was for the R5 II and it was for the fan. And I never shoot long enough that I would actually need to use this. And I think it was like $400. So I'm not even, I wouldn't even recommend it.
Area. You're in the Great Lakes area. But if you're in Malaysia, Singapore, Florida, you might need one of those. Like remember Dan Watson, the problems he had with the R5 Mark I, and he had everything overheat.
Yeah, so, he's in Florida. That's right.
Yeah. Like you and I, it doesn't, like it gets hot. By the time we change into our shorts and t-shirts, it's winter again.
I know it's 40 degrees and I have to go to t-shirts here in Wisconsin. So that's how I live.
All right. Let me see what other, this is an interesting one. Again, these are video. We're getting a lot of video questions. If you're a photographer, drop some questions.
Will the R6 III be approved by Netflix? No. Yeah.
No.
If it's not a cinema camera with a cinema menu, it won't. No.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not a cinema camera. It's missing very specific features that Netflix.
It won't have the 180-degree shutter option.
It doesn't have time code.
Well. Yeah.
It won't have time code, so no, it won't. But I want to point this out. Don't worry about the Netflix approved list. It doesn't matter. Even if you're trying to deliver stuff to Netflix. Majority of the time, it doesn't matter. The only time the Netflix approved list matters is if Netflix actually hires you to produce one of their original series projects. Outside of that, the list is meaningless. Don't worry about it.
And it's a
it doesn't make your
percentage. So
camera.
you can use it for a percentage of your production. You just can't use it for the 100%. You know, it's usually like 15 to 20% could be a non-Netflix approved camera anyways.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, unless it's an original series, because that list only goes to their original series. So if you were like you shot a whole project and then you pitched it and delivered it and wanted Netflix to pick it up, you could do that with any camera. It doesn't matter as long as you make the connections with people in Netflix and you get buzz of your project. There's a good chance it can still get on Netflix and it doesn't need to be on this list. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. I think people have conflated this list like there's some gravitas to it. When it doesn't really make 95% of the time, it really is meaningless.
Brian, I'd like you to take this question. Buy an A12, 2 terabyte CF Express Type A cards, extra battery, and a very good lens. Don't compromise.
Well, I think this was to answer the question that was asked earlier about what camera should the gentleman buy if you had 10. It's a great choice. Sure. A12 is a fast camera, high resolution, big memory cards, extra battery. You definitely need extra battery for mirrorless these days, and a good lens. 100% agree with that. Whether that's the right one for me or not, I don't know. I think one thing that I've learned selling cameras for so long is that the right camera is different for everyone.
And scenario.
Right? And scenario, every scenario, exactly. Like if you were to put a Sony in my hand, an A12, and say, hey, Brian, go out and enjoy your day, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have the same kind of enjoyment. My hand would hurt right here. The images, the focus would be a little bit behind where I want it. I mean, this is the experiences I've had with these cameras already. I'm lucky I get to use all of the cameras from all the different brands, and I have for 19 years. So from the Sony A100 all the way up to the A12 and the A9 III, I've gotten to use these cameras shooting what I shoot. And there's a reason I shoot Nikon. I can't say it any more clearly than that. Canon makes great stuff. Sony makes great stuff. And for those people that really enjoy those cameras, it's great. But for me, there was a question earlier from Mother Oats asking, R6 III better than the Z6 III? Maybe. And that's a really good question for photography. And I'm really curious why nobody has really touched on it yet, is pixel density and what you can do. The fact that lower ISO or higher ISO works better with lower resolution because you have bigger pixels to work with. So pixel density is really important. The more pixels you have, the smaller your pixel. The smaller your pixel, the harder it's working at higher ISO and the more noise you get. So in my world, I chose 12 megapixels for my first camera, D700. I chose 24 megapixels for my current baby, which I named after my wife I love so much. There's certain cameras that are right for certain people, and I don't buy cameras often. My last camera I actually paid for was a D70-100, if that tells you something. So for me to fork out the 3500 or whatever it was for this guy, it is special. And for what it does in camera, the focusing and everything that it does, no, the Canon would not be where I would go.
Well, now, see,
however,
my world,
noise removal will be improved on the Canon.
I would also,
more croppability will be better on the Canon because of the more resolution. So there are a lot of really cool things, and I will be trying this camera. I will be borrowing it when it's out and taking it in my world and putting it through that test, comparing high ISO 8000 to 8000 Nikon to Canon. And historically, Nikon has always been cleaner when I do these tests. But I'm really anxious to see what the processing in the R6 III has done for that. And I will also give it the benefit of the doubt. I love all cameras.
Yeah. Also, I want to piggyback off your pixel density. Another thing that's important thing that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to pixel density is diffraction. Is that the higher the resolution you have and the smaller the pixels are per square inch, the faster you get to the faster you actually get to diffraction on your lenses. So if you have a lens that may go to T22, if you have a super high resolution camera, it may only go to like T5.6 before you start seeing diffractions. And for those of you that may not know what diffraction is, essentially it's the point where your image starts getting soft, when the basically the sensor can't render out the resolution or the performance of the lens because it's just not getting enough charge from the light hitting the sensor because obviously the iris is closing down.
Okay, I got to back up a minute here because more megapixels means I can get better photos, right? We've finally
No.
gone from 24 megapixels to 32 on the R6 Mark III. So don't we get better photos, don't we?
Well, we only get better photos for the 12 inches behind the camera. You know, like the best feature on any camera, 12 inches behind it. So,
That's what she said.
sure, if you know how to use your boom. If you know how to use your camera, yeah, you can make better photos, but that's the user, and that's also subjective opinion. So, no, I don't agree with more pixels is better. I think more pixels is better for certain things: real estate photography, portrait work, landscape, things where you need big detail. Video is very
You do
important
not
because
need
you're
for
not-
real estate. I actually take all my RAWs of my 45 megapixels and I bring it down to 10 megapixels into a DNG, and then I have them edited. So I actually don't even want or need that kind of resolution. It is nice to have that resolution for certain situations.
Are you
But
talking photo or
ultimately,
video?
I'm talking about
Photo or
photo.
video?
Photo.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So I mean, there's like no reason why I need 45 megapixels for real estate, especially when it's going to be going on to the MLS. So you got Zillow and Realtor.com. You can't even tell anyway. So when I downsample it to a 10 or even an 8 megapixel RAW and then out to a JPEG, nobody can tell the difference.
Nobody can tell the difference, not at all.
Yeah.
And the reason I was going to say that for video it's important is because without the higher resolution capability, you can't do the super high res video like an R5 II and so on can do. So there are some benefits to resolution on the high end video end, but for photography, I don't see it. And also workflow. I mean, come on, when I was shooting a Z8, Z9, I went through terabytes like you wouldn't believe. And I see Mother Oats replied back that they use a Z8 right now. And they had a Z6 II, but they didn't like the little micro HDMI. Well, for the record, the Z6 III has a full-size HDMI, so that's not an issue. And a huge improvement from a Z6 II to a 3. I absolutely recommend it if you have a Z8 as your first body to get a Z6 III as your second body.
Yeah, and also to the video portion of the resolution, key benefit of higher resolution is if you're working with a lot of visual effects and motion graphics. The higher the resolution, it's easier to use to work with CG and motion graphics. So typically, like I did a commercial campaign ad for a community college here, and we shot with the Ursa Mini Pro 12K because we can shoot those higher resolutions, which made it, when we send it to our VFX house, it was easier for them to render a good quality background for the green screen.
That makes sense. And it makes sense too with even photography and noise removal, because the more pixels you have, AI noise removal looks at a pixel and then gathers all the pixels around it. So the more pixels around it, the more it can massage and remove noise. So I have noticed that I had better noise removal with maintaining more detail with more pixels. So even though it might look more noisy out of camera, noise removal cleans it up better with more pixels. So there is a bit of a benefit there.
Yeah, like my cinema camera 6K, if you just put the camera right into DaVinci Resolve, it looks very noisy. But honestly, you just do the slightest bit of noise reduction, all that noise is gone, and you still got super amount of detail.
I really love this conversation. This is what I was trying to do, because I do see a lot of comments, people saying, "Oh, it's got 24 megapixels, I'm not getting it," or Canon, the R1's 24 megapixels. That's it. It's not for me.
32 is actually pretty big. I mean, if we're going to be looking at the 6D Mark II, this is the same level, right? And now we have the R6 series, and going in, and they're always like 20 megapixels, 24 megapixels. Going to 32, I don't know. Like I'm kind of like, how different is it going to be from the R5 II besides the sensor, right? I feel like it's very competitive. There's got to be something more. There's got to be a cripple hammer, or there's going to be something more that they're going to add with a firmware update for the R5 II.
You know, I was thinking this just yesterday, and I thought, the R5 Mark II can do 8K oversample 4K, and I've got the detail. But if I'm honest with myself, will 7K oversample 4K on the R6 III be that much noticeable in terms of detail? And it's going to be about $1,000 less. So I'm even in my head, I'm waiting to see some of the reviews and how they're going to talk about it, because maybe the R6 III, because when it comes to the photo side, I shot my son this weekend and he's recovering. Thank you.
What? Yeah. Okay.
He's fine. and you know, I didn't
That's why I
like
don't
the
have
larger
to-
photo
Are we all
size.
dads? I have dad jokes up the wazoo.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I'm cautiously looking at this camera going, no, it's R5 II. You're fine. I love you. I do. It's just those larger, for the photo side, I find that 45 megapixels is too big for what I need. But on the video side, I love it. But we now have Canon Log 2 on the R6 III. We have CF Express on the R6 III. We have XF HEVC, XF AVC. We have long GOP, all intro. Oh my goodness, it's like the R5 was reincarnated into the R6 III, and they just threw out some things. So I'm really curious. There was another photo question. It's gone from the screen, but the essence of it, I love this. Something to do with what's the
They were
difference between
asking what's the
mechanical and
benefit of using-
electronic.
Yeah, they were saying,
I
what's
have
the
that on my
benefit of
list.
mechanical shutter?
Brian, take it.
Yeah. Advantage of mechanical shutter is the question. That was from Burzy Gravy, I believe. So what are the advantages of mechanical shutter? First of all, electronic
Rolling
shutter has... Thank you. That's exactly what it is. So, for example, if you're shooting a hummingbird with an electronic shutter, the way that the pixels read going across, you'll get the hummingbird wing up here, and then as it across, you'll get it down here. So you end up with like dual wings in some places if you're shooting hummingbirds. But if you're shooting a concert with LED lighting, you get banding across your photo using the electronic shutter. So if you're going to use a camera that has silent mode or electronic shutter, you're shooting either really high speed things like a hummingbird's wings, or you're getting into LED lighting, you're definitely going to want to turn off the electronic shutter and go to mechanical. The reason the Z8 and Z9 can get away with it is because their processor is 10 times faster than anything comparable, and it reads like that instead of reading like this. And it does a much better job, although I still have had banding on LED lighting from those cameras.
Yeah, and
So,
sort
yeah,
of on the
that's a
video
big part
side.
of it.
Yeah, on the video side of it, I agree. It's basically, it's like you're still going to get banding, especially or even if you do not even doing some sports. If you shoot weddings, you'll run into the same issue of like potential LED lightings. Even something as fast as the Sony FX3, I still get when I start going into the higher frame rates, like 60 frames a second, I still get the frequency. I still get some frequencies banding or rolling. I see the rolling shutter frequencies off the LED lights because they're not flicker. Most of the time, especially vendors who don't really pay attention to stuff like that, they just like pretty lights. They're pretty cheap, but they still have they're not flicker free. So you can run into these issues from a video side, but also from the photo side. If you have a mechanical shutter, this doesn't become an issue at all.
And I think that's the big debate photographers and videographers will have between the R6 III and the C50, because the C50 doesn't have a mechanical shutter because it's primarily a cinema camera. And so that's kind of my debate too, because if I'm going to have the C50 as my interim between the C80 and my R5 II, because I need photography and I need video, what's going to be the precedence? Because if I'm going to be using it for a lot of moving photos, then I might want to just go with the R6 III. And that might be something that others are going to want to debate between the C50 and that. So there's that. And there's also probably other things that are not going to be crippled on the C50 for video that are going to be crippled on the R6 III.
Very good. There's a question I want to take from Andrew, but before I do, guys, I'm just noticing, I can't believe how many people are watching right now. We've got 530 watching. We're just about 25 minutes away from Canon's announcement where We're going to cover that live. And just one mention, if you are considering pre-ordering the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, we've got smart pre-order links down below in the description for Adorama and B&H in the United States, Wex Photo and Video in the United Kingdom, and for the rest of Europe, we have Photo Call. So if you can do that, if you're interested in buying from those retailers, if you do that, really helps out this channel. We get a small commission back, and a big thanks. But now over
500 people watching, yes, but only 106 likes. What's up with that, streamer?
7.
What's up with that, Zach? Let's bump those likes up. And if you don't like us, hit that down button twice.
Yes, twice. And while we're at it too, if you've just joined us, please check out James Jackson Films. It's another YouTube channel. This man is a director of photography. He's got an awful lot of experience. He should have 20, 30,000 subscribers, not where he's at right now. Very smart, knowledgeable gentleman. Check out his channel. Check out Jared Hoyman. He's a real estate agent, real estate photographer. He does videography and photography. He's got a really incredible channel with a great sense of humor. Really fits in with my style of humor, but his is better. And of course, we've got Brian Weiss from Henry's and Day Tripper Photo. So please do me a favor and check out these gentlemen. Check out their websites and their YouTube sites. But Andrew asks, how detrimental is it to not having a stack sensor? It seems stack sensors are going to become more and more common. Is that putting a shelf life on the camera? Yes, no, maybe, it depends. So let me put it to you this way. The Canon EOS R5, the Mark I, had a readout speed of 16.3 milliseconds. It had some rolling shutter, but it wasn't anything, worse than what you see in some Hollywood movies. The Mark II got a stacked sensor, and it dropped that readout speed all the way down to 6.3 milliseconds, the same as the R3, so you could shoot sports, and it looks great. But you know what happened along the way? Some sports photographers, some wildlife photographers said, hey, look, we often shoot in dawn and dusk, low light situations, and when I'm shooting in high ISO of like 12,800, even with denoise, I'm finding there's noticeably more noise with a stacked sensor. Why is that? Well, let's understand the dynamics of this. So what happens if let's assume this is a cell here, a photo site. And what happens on a standard sensor is you have a whole bunch of circuitry right on the top layer here. What a stack sensor does, among many things, is it takes that circuitry and puts it to the bottom. So now what you can do is you can have that photo site, the well, to be a little bit wider to take in more light. But here's the problem. When you reduce that readout speed, guess what happens? You are collecting less light again. It's kind of like ISO, aperture, and I always get to say shutter. Sometimes I say them twice, but it's that triangle, right? And if you adjust one, it affects the others. So it really depends on what you shoot. Like I say to people, look, if you're a photographer and you've got the R5 Mark I and you do wildlife, stay with the Mark I. But for everybody else, you're going to find the benefits of the Mark II with the stack sensor. So it's a great question, but it really depends on what you shoot. Generally, a stack sensor does have better low light performance. But if you're also then taking that readout speed and really reducing it, well, now you're increasing noise. So what we saw with the R5 II is under certain situations, for limited ISO, you would actually see more noise.
And also faster readouts tend to lower the dynamic range performance of the camera as well. So Simon's perfectly correct. It all depends on what you do. I'll just say from a video perspective, the stack sensor is not really a big factor to me. Just for the simple fact, I still think Canon's best sensor ever right now is the DGO sensor that's in the Canon C70. It's not a stacked sensor. It's not even a dual base ISO sensor, but it has some of the best dynamic range performances. It also does, even though it doesn't have a second base native ISO, it does really, really, really well in low light, but specifically with the low light part, it's really good at retaining, man, it is late, retaining the colors in the lower base, because it's taking a circuit from higher end as well as low end and merging together. So it still retains color as you go up in ISO versus majority cameras, even something like the FX3 3, which has a 12,800 base ISO. But when you go up, you do start seeing, you don't get as much of the color fidelity, but you do. But something like, again, the Canon C70. So again, it all depends. From a video perspective, even then it depends. Me personally, stack sensors are not really that big a deal. I've worked with, I got a camera that has a readout speed of like 23 milliseconds. And I just know, hey, don't shake the camera that much. I also have a camera that has like an 8 millisecond readout speed. But I know its limitations as well.
The next question I have here, how about for wildlife or safari work? Do some landscape with small and big animals that may not be too close? I don't have the R5, and I was thinking about buying the R6 Mark II when the Mark III was announced. Joshua Hulk, who is a wildlife photographer, and he shoots in the Arctic and subarctic where it's very, very cold. He shoots with an R1, and he does that because of the low light performance of the camera. But what he will tell you is it's not so much the body when you're at that level, it's the lens, more importantly. So it really depends on what your budget is going to be, because like his go-to lenses is something like the 400 millimeter f2.8 or the 600 millimeter prime. And these are all the price of cars. They're very expensive lenses. For me, I can't afford that level. So for wildlife, I use like the 100 to 500 f 4.5 to 7.1. And it works really, really well for me. Still not a cheap lens at around 2,300 US, 15,000 Canadian or something like that. But a beautiful, beautiful lens. In terms of the camera, if you're doing, my thoughts are, and maybe Brian can offer some thoughts on this, but what I'd be more concerned with, unless my wildlife just likes the noonday sun, I'd really be wanting something like with a 24 megapixel sensor so you can get more light. You want something with a good autofocus system, because some of those shots you might be there for days and days, and it's like hunting. You might be there for days and days, and if you might only have a few seconds for the shot and then it's gone.
He might want to get the R6 too and just buy a really nice lens, because he'll have that 24 megapixels and then have that option for faster glass.
Brian did not like that answer.
No,
he did not like
okay.
that answer, Jared. Jared.
Oh, Brian Rage.
Sorry.
Oh, he's back, Jared.
He's back.
You can apologize now.
Hey, can we talk about the 45 1.2? What is the price going to be on that one? What is it
$469.
rumored at?
Like 700.
No,
Holy
$469.
That is so cheap.
I just confirmed it. Yeah, got confirmation today.
Oh my
so
gosh,
that is,
I am pre-ordering. That is pre-ordered. My camera store, I sent him an email yesterday. I thought it was going to be like 700-800. I'll buy 2 of them for fun. No, that is, and it's supposed to be equivalent to the 50 1.2L EF version. I was told. I'm not sure if that's going to be true or not, but it sounds like
tomorrow.
What's that?
I'm going to try it tomorrow.
You're going to try what tomorrow?
The 45 millimeter and the R6.
Oh, do you have access to it?
I'm going to see Canon tomorrow.
Oh, is that a secret?
No. Okay, this is a plug. I don't get paid for this. So right now in Toronto, there's Profusion. It's a photo, video, cinema trade show. And
yeah.
I believe Vista. Is it Vista, Brian? That's a Canadian brand, isn't it? Vistech.
Viztech.
They are sponsoring
I try not to say that word too often.
I know, but
I get an allergy to that word.
I know
myself,
it gets you to wheeze and stuff.
Because Henry's and Viztech are kind of like,
But they're sponsoring the show, and Canon's going to be there,
Okay.
Sony, and they're apparently having an announcement. We all kind of know what that is now. So Canon, they have all the lenses like the 1200, the 800. So I'm pretty sure Canon will have the 45. So I'm going to take the R5 II with me. I'm going to try it out, because last year
It just won't be weather sealed. That'll be the only problem.
Oh no! They have a roof on the place. We don't use tents in Canada, so it's a proper building. It's weather sealed.
I meant the lens, but yeah.
Not true, actually. So this is something a lot of people don't realize, but pretty well all lenses are weather sealed. It's just to the degree that they are sealed. Mm-hmm. And even Canon will say this. I was in Niagara Falls, literally. I was on one of the boats, the horn blowers. It takes you right up there. And anybody who's not been on it, it's kind of like being in a 40 to around 40 mile an hour winds. It's hitting you with rain and mist. And I was there with a Canon 70D and the 18 to 135 millimeter USM. And it worked afterwards. No issues. So when you hear it's weather sealed, that means they've done more work on it to make sure that it can handle more. It's meant to be on the sidelines. It's meant for people who are always outside shooting regardless of the weather. They still won't warranty it against ingress of water and dust, but it's better built for it. So any lens has some degree of weather resistance. And I just wish the camera makers would use some sort of IP rating so we can go, oh, okay, don't drop it in a pool and I'll be fine,
So here's a question. And what is the difference between, besides the red ring, but an L series and non-L? Because my understanding it was more weather sealed, but also the glass was more of a premium glass. Is that still
it is true. Well, L stands for luxury, believe it or not. But the L series, the red ring, the number of elements sometimes could be more, the refinement, the polishing. Basically, you're doing a much better job. And that's why if you got like a 50 millimeter f1.2, the thing was heavy because you just had much heavier glass. They spend a lot more time. Those aberrations you get, chromatic or otherwise, in the fringes or wherever in the frame, $200, $400, no big deal. But if I'm a wedding photographer, I'm going to spend that $2,000-$3,000 because I don't want that, right? So it's all about math, and it's just getting a much better. It's like the Hubble, well, that was billions of dollars. Why? Because they had to really, really polish it and be careful, and they still screwed it up. They needed a software update to fix it. Okay, guys, we're coming down to almost the last 10 minutes now. We're 13 minutes away. And just a reminder to my expert guest panel that as we switch over, I'll silence it. We'll have Canon's presentation with closed captions so you can read what's going on. We'll provide our commentary, and they're going to be looking at various web publications, camera labs, whatnot, to see if people are saying, this is a really good camera or this is dog food, right? Yeah. So that's coming up in about 12 minutes. We're almost there, and 600 of you are watching us. Yes.
No, go ahead, Simon.
No, you cut me off. I forgot my thought. I'm tired. I can't think.
I know. I'm sorry. I was trying to, because Harold asked a question a long time ago. I wanted to get it before I lost it, which was he liked to get the panel's take on Canon versus Sony regarding firmware updates. I've heard unflattering things about Sony, how Sony's has been MIA on that front. How about Canon? I'll address the Sony part because I know Jared and you can sort of address the Canon side more. I think Sony has just not necessarily been MIA. They've just their firmware are sort of more, they're more spread apart, and they also announced them way in advance. So, for example, Sony got Blackmagic RAW external option. That was announced a year ago, but it was September that they got the update. Also, I'll bring this up. I know this is mainly a Canon party here, but if there's anybody that has an FX3 or an FX30, Blackmagic has actually just updated today. The video says so now it will accept the FX3 and the FX30. So you can now actually shoot B-roll to the FX30 and the FX3 as of today.
Okay, so from a Canon point of view, honestly, it depends on what you buy. Now, if you buy one of the flagship cameras, I know it's the R1, but it's really the R5. That's what makes all the money for Canon in terms of their mirrorless line. Good margins, sells an awful lot of them. Yeah, you get a lot of updates. And so far, we've had, I think, 4 or 5 since the R5 II was released. As you move down, you don't get as many firmware updates. But I would say that it's unlike Canon was 10 years ago. They're kind of following what Lumix did and just providing you with updates to keep your camera feeling a bit more current. I wouldn't really worry about, when looking for a camera, I wouldn't really worry if they release firmware updates or not. I wouldn't let that be the deciding factor. Now with the R5 Mark I, that thing was basically released before it was really ready, and it needed at least 4 or 5 firmware updates to bring it up to speed. It wasn't until firmware 1.6.1 or 6.0 that the heat management allowed you to basically shoot without having, you know, a pulsating neck vein going like, oh my God, is it going to shut off? And with the R5 Mark II, if it does start to overheat, it does one of these like do, 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 right? So you at least have an idea of when it's going to go on you. So we're 10 minutes away, guys. Just one call to arms here. Good to see 633 watching right now. If you are interested in pre-ordering the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, and what I would, Jared said he was on the fence. So this is what I meant to say earlier that I forgot. If you're unsure, pre-order. Just pay attention to the shipping date. It's either going to be November the 20th or the 25th. The last I heard is the 25th. Once you do a pre-order, you can always cancel it. So put yourself in the queue, and then if you decide to cancel, cancel. But
is the C50 and the R6 III going to ship on the same day?
I don't know.
No, the C50 is actually shipping December. For the last I heard, it's shipping in December. The rumor here is that the R6 III is going to ship earlier. It's going to ship this month.
Oh, I want it now, so maybe I'll just get the R6 III.
If you come to Profusion, I can distract them. You can run out the door.
I'd love to go. I don't want to drive. I think it's like 7 hours.
We have an airport here. Fly.
6 hours. Oh, fly. Yeah.
And they have a train from the airport right to the convention center. It's really good.
Sponsor me. I mean, Canada is like 5 hours north of me, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. But anyhow, guys, if you are interested in pre-ordering and you're in the United States, I've got links to Adorama and B&H in the description. If you're from the United Kingdom, we now have you covered with VEC, WAX, photo, and video. And for the rest of Europe, we have PhotoCock. So all I can say is, for those of you that using my pre-order links, thank you so much. It means an awful lot to me. It also means an awful lot to me that we've got 650 of you watching our channel. I can't believe I started this channel almost 6 years ago to this date. I just got a little notice saying, hey, you've been with us for 6 years. Hard to believe. 6 years with 666 people watching right now. Thank you. And Brian, 666. Brian remembers too, because I came into the store and bought a bunch of lighting gear.
We were just talking about that at the store today, actually. We were talking about that, how far you've come, and I think you've done really, really well. The first thing you said, you wanted to be like Peter McKinnon. You know, you wanted to have that kind of draw. I'm like, nah, nobody can do that. And sure enough, maybe not the 6 million that Pete has right now, but
no, 666. Really well. Yeah. So, and again, thank you. Look, I'm just happy you're here with us. This couldn't have gone any better than I thought. I'm exhausted, didn't sleep well last night. Busy day at work, busy day doing videos, and I was just getting a little punchy. So to have Jared with me, please subscribe to his channel. James, please subscribe to his channel. And Bryce, if you're in the GTA, check out Day Tripper. It's really, really good. They do stuff all over the place, and it's a great way to learn your camera and possibly some new lenses. But Jared, just before we get to this, you were mentioning you got the 50 f1.4 VCM. I'm shooting with it right now. I like it better than the f1.2.
I was going to ask you, I've never owned a 1.2.
It's nice.
Ever. And so it was tempting, but it's so light. So as a detailed B camera on my C80, it looks so good for that real estate walkthrough.
Well, not only that, but with the 50 f1.4, it's better than the 1.2 when it comes to the minimal focus distance by about 6 inches or 20 centimeters. That's huge.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, like that is big.
With the 50 f1.2, so often doing product photography, I bump into something like, or not bump into it, but I go like, I bump into that focus wall and go like, oh, I want to get closer. And with the 1.4, that's not the case. It's like, wait a minute, what? How am I able to get so close? Plus, you got the aperture ring. It's lighter. Now, if you're a photographer and you really want that creamy bokeh, like kind of what I've got here as my back frame, there are certain situations where the 1.2. Do I have time? Okay, I want to bring this up.
I was going to say the 85 is. I'm going to do a video on it because I'm going to do a comparison of the 50 and the 85 VCM. Because it is hard. I am not a portraiture photographer, but I did a video on my wife and trying to get her some little professional photos. And I couldn't believe, like, with a flash, how good the shots looked for portraiture on this. So,
Okay, this is the 50 f1.4 VCM at night. Well, obviously at night. So, you know, I'm Canadian, not too smart sometimes. I'm speaking the obvious. So it's at night, but look at the quality. This is on the R5 II, and just look at how well it's lit, the level of noise, and I'm not using denoise here. I'll just skip ahead a little bit. Oh, that's better. It gives you a bit more contrast. And this is just put on by the town. This was done by Aurora, Brian. And
your Canadian people are crazy.
a little scary.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just, you know, playing with a doll. And they were using lights that didn't have any house. But
There's the flicker.
yeah, just two of them did it too. I didn't have the problem last year. But the quality, and it's actually up here, there was two gentlemen, I'm trying to find out, yeah, these guys here. These guys are great. And I just let it record, let it go. And just the quality, that's amazing. And the 50 f1.2, sure, it's better, but for the price,
Oh, the price is good.
you got to look at the f1.4 VCM. It just doesn't have image stabilization. So that's one issue you might have.
So the 45 1.2, it doesn't have image stabilization, does it?
45. Well, it's an STM, so I don't know if it has it or not. I know that none of the VCMs do.
Yeah, none of the VCMs do, but they're also geared for cinema, and you're going to have it on a gimbal or on a dolly or
That's what Canon said.
on a crane. Yeah. So, I mean, and personally, I didn't know if I would actually miss IBIS, but I don't use it. So if I'm using like the RS4 Pro and I have my C80 and I have everything locked in, it's smooth anyways. So, and you don't get that, wobble. And if you really wanted it, then you just have a lens that has IS, but ultimately somebody that does cinema shooting, they're not going to need it.
You're not going to find IBIS on cinema cameras. I mean, on true cinema cameras.
What?
In general, IBIS isn't something that, like what is the new 50C, putting IBIS in cameras like that, because you get the waffling, like you said, Jared. If you're using a wide lens on those cameras, the edges are all going all nutty. So,
yep.
And besides, if you're on a tripod, you turn stabilizer off, or else you're creating the wobble.
You do
itself,
this Laowa 10mm Laowa full frame is extremely awesome, and I love that it's 100% manual, and I love that the aperture is clickable, because then I know exactly what aperture I have. The ring is dampened really nicely, and I know exactly where it's at in its length, and that's the way to go if you want an immersive video walkthrough. And I think that lens was like $800, so which is so reasonable for a 10mm.
Yeah, I was shooting with the 10 to 20 millimeter. It's 10 to 20 millimeter just a couple of weeks ago for Thanksgiving.
Oh, did you? How did you like it? You can't put anything on the front either. What was I doing? You can't put a lens cap, or not a lens cap. You can't put a filter on it either.
I want it. I thought it was only $2,000, but then I realized, oh no, it's $2,000 US. So that means it was over expensive. $3,000. But is it so good? I shot at 20 most of the times, but the correction in that thing is really good. And one thing I don't do, I don't pan with it, because when you do pan with it, you notice, right, the correction of it. It just feels a little nauseating. But
it's like a catch-up mode. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're just shooting, like you just hold it there and you shoot, you get the scene. It is just, or you're moving forward. Like if you're moving forward, you're fine. Moving backward, it's just when I pan, I thought, but that's me.
Save $2,000, put it at f4, get the Laowa, or 5.6 even, and it's beautiful. It's a great lens. There is a decent amount of vignetting, obviously, in the corners, but it gives it more of a cinematic. And there's a couple of different versions. There's a 16 blade and a 5 blade, and the 16 blade, I think it's 16 blades. Just look for the higher one. The background is so smooth.
1 minute away.
Okay,
yeah, so just quickly back on IBIS for terms of video. I know some people say IBIS is more important for video than photography. Personally, I just disagree with that statement. IBIS causes way more problems from a video and cinema standpoint than it solves. And plus, there's just tools. Even as a solo creator, there's tools that are just better than IBIS. Gimbals are there's still not a single IBIS. Even Lumix, as great as their IBIS is, it still does not compete with the gimbal.
Turn it
and
off
its
on a gimbal.
capabilities.
Turn it off.
Yeah, and even if you turn the IBIS off, a lot of cameras don't lock their IBIS. So if you're in a situation where it shakes enough, you'll still get artifacts from
Yep.
it, even though technically your IBIS is off.
That's why the C50 is still my top choice over the R6 III, because it is locked. It isn't going to move. It is more cinema geared, and it's going to be smaller. I mean, I'm not going to have an EVF on it, which is a pro and a con depending on what you're looking at. But on a gimbal, another person mentioned it on there, I think it was Alina, on a gimbal, it's going to be so super light, especially if you get a prime lens like the Laowa on there. It's going to be the easiest thing to maneuver through architecture like I do.
Folks, I can just tell now from the number of people watching, 832. When we did the R5 II at 5 in the morning, also an early one, we got up to 1,000. It was actually 1,500. They don't show the accurate number, but we're getting very close to this. I haven't had another camera get this high other than the R5 II. So this tells me that this camera has an awful lot of interest. So if you, like I said, if you are interested in pre-ordering, whether you use my links down below or not, pre-order, then pay attention to the shipping date, and then do your research, watch the video reviews, because if you do your reviews later and then decide, oh, I'm going to get it, you might be in a situation where it shows up on the Canon's apologies for not shipping products page. And the 200 to 800 announced 2 years ago took about 10 months to fulfill. So just saying. So here we go. Here we go, guys. So keep an eye out what's out there. And guys watching at home, if you see anything, hear anything, drop it in the comments, and we're gonna stay with you for at least 20 more minutes or half an hour to see, does this thing match all the leaked specifications? Because I'm getting a sense that on a video side point of view, wow, does it hit a lot of the high notes? And on the still side, well, if you want that higher resolution, a lot of people did. You've now got 32 megapixels. Not as much as Sony with that 33, but here we go. So there it is. Yeah, so it's looking exactly like the leaked specifications. So yeah, 32.5 full frame CMOS sensor, not stacked.
Jan, I'm watching your video right now, actually.
So yeah, mechanical. So 12 and 40 electronic. It's got first curtain shutter as well. So it's got all three. So it's got the tele light on the LCD. It's got the tele light on the front of the camera. And where else does it have? And the EVF. You get one in the EVF as well. Oh, so for up to 20 frames, pre-continuous shooting. They don't mention the settings, though.
It's not stacked.
No, I know it's not stacked. So they confirmed that it's not stacked.
Are we muted with everybody else, or can they hear us?
No, they can hear us. I just muted the Canon. Otherwise, it's loud and we won't be able to hear over it.
Okay.
Besides, they came for our commentary. They can just go to Canon if they just want to hear Canon spiel, but they came for
I went to
Jim.
Canon. I got bored with us. Now I'm looking on Canon's site.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I got
That
ADD.
hurts.
Can't help it.
Can I mention a quick thing? A question was asked about why is a smartphone better in camera stabilization? And there were a few people that replied about it. Small sensor. Nobody mentioned that. When you have a large full frame sensor, it is it's a completely different thing than working with a cell phone.
Sorry,
and cell
Brian.
phones, those tiny sensors and computational power, they can do a lot of things.
They just confirmed Canon Log 2. So a lot of us, we reported on it, but we almost didn't believe it. It was almost too good to be true to get Canon Log 2 in this camera. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, so
Just making sure that people realize sensor size is important, just like focal length is important, Jared. When you were talking about the 85 being so juicy, the longer focal length gives you so much compression. A 45 will not reproduce that at all.
No.
You'll get a really good shallow depth of field if you're up close, but those 85s are that's why people use them for portrait, because the longer your focal length, the more compression you get, and that's just a beautiful look.
wow.
I think the 45 will be really nice for a walk around camera at night.
that was it?
That's my
Vlogging.
interest.
That was it, guys. That was the big announcement.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man, they didn't
essentially,
even
it is.
talk about the 45.
Yeah.
So now that the
essentially, it is.
camera's out, I could actually talk about a few things.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, one of the really important things I think on this camera that I don't know if they mentioned or will is the false color control that you have.
Oh,
If you're doing video, you have false color on this guy now, so you can actually make
Really?
the parts that are in focus green. So even if you're shooting on a bright sunny day and those Canon displays are kind of dark, you'll get a visual identification that you'll get really good detail and focus where you need it by having that false color.
I love
And a
false
full-size
color,
HDMI port too. So.
but
It also has stop motion firmware as well, so you can do stop motion on it.
for separate, they have a different model for that. So it's like the old Mark IV where you paid $100 to get Canon log.
Okay.
But what were you saying, Brian? Because there was a follow-up I had to that I just gone out of my head.
Well, just how false color is such an under talked about feature.
I wish, and I love false color, so Canon, thanks, but if you could adopt the EL zone, so when we're going between different camera models, it's precise. They all match up easily. But yeah, I love waveforms and I love false colors, and they're all really, really good tools. So the talk. Ooh.
So Chris says false color on the Mark II was useless. It was only on the footage, the log footage, not on the view assist. Now it's on the view assist. So.
And you know what? I've been shooting Canon Log 2, Canon Log 3, and Canon Log for years now, and I got to say, I never trusted View Assist. It kind of helps you, especially with Canon Log 2, because what you get is so flat. But the View Assist doesn't really show you exactly how it's going to look, but it does. I guess give you a 4-dimensional view of it. Whereas Canon Log 2, it's unlike 3 or 1. It's very, very, very flat.
You were talking about the IBIS as well, the in-body stabilization. They say this is actually 8.5 stops.
Yeah, that's pretty high. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is.
That was the same as the R5.1, if I remember. It was 8.5.
I don't.
The R5.2 is 8.5 as well.
Is it?
Yeah,
Depending on the lens.
The R5.1 had 8.5 stops if you combined it with a lens.
Okay.
At least that's what
what is it without a lens? What is it with like a non-IS lens?
5, 6.
It was 6.5.
Okay.
It was 6.5 without a lens.
It depends. Canon says it's 8.5 at the center and 7.5 out to the edges, depending on the lens.
Yeah.
So they're getting very technical with it now.
Yeah. In regards to false color, I think Canon is sort of now taking Sony's approach that when they, which is basically features that they're going to have in other in their maybe higher ends, they're going to put it in the lower ends, because this is like even I think the Canon R50V has false color in it now as well. So I think this is just something a standard to be expected. The only thing for me is I'm gonna, and I probably know I'm not gonna get it. I wish there was EL zone or stop base exposure, because it's way more accurate, and it's way more accurate in telling you what a scene looks like. And it really, for me as a cinematographer, it completely changed and improved my skill sets as a filmmaker and as a cinematographer, because I can literally pick out specific parts of the scenes that are a stop over, 2 stops over, 4 stops over, 4 stops under, and then just take those and then basically go, I need that up by a stop. It really changes perspective. And since it's a stop base and it's not a waveform or false color that uses nit base, it's standardized. Since it's stop base, it's standardized, meaning if you expose on one camera using EL zone or stop base exposure, then any other camera, as long as you expose it to middle gray, the scene will behave the exact same thing, as long as you expose to said camera's middle gray.
Brian, do you know what the big difference then, besides some of the obvious ergonomics, between the C50 and the R6 III is going to be, the inside stuff with video? Because, there's going to be some limitations, like maybe even overheating or anything. Have you heard anything on your end?
Not really, not specifically between those. I mean, from what I understand, this is not a cinema camera. It's a photo camera. It does great
Yep.
video, where the R50 or the 50C is a cinema camera. So that's a completely different kind of build structure that they're going to work into the two. I know it's going to be impressive, but I don't know much more than that. 4K, it'll do 135 megabit per second, 24 frames per second, 17:9. It looks gorgeous doing that. But as far as specific differences between those two cameras, I can't really speak on that.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just said they're having technical issues with the B&H link for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
If I can, just for a quick second,
Yep.
Simon, you have your links and all your stuff. You didn't mention anywhere in Canada. I do work at Henry's Camera in Canada. So if anybody's looking to buy Canadian from a Canadian store that is 115 years old, Canadian-owned company, you can always let me know, and I can help you, facilitate a purchase here in Canada. And just to answer the question, somebody asked how much they are. In Canada, they're selling for $3,500.
Plus tax. Yay.
Plus tax, because we're Canadian and we love tax.
And we love it so much. We love it so much. So good. I have it in the morning and I have it with lunch and dinner.
Nick, I see your question there. I just answered that for you. $34.99.99.
All right, so it's working now. I've seen this before, guys. Sometimes when things click over, B&H or Adorama go, it's too many orders. I don't know what to do. So anyhow, there we go. Okay. I'll be curious to see what happens when all the reviews come out. Now, have you guys seen anything from some of the reviews? Because I was expecting a bit more on the Canon website in terms of talking about the capabilities, but they've
Looks like Petapixel has a video out. DP Review does. DP Review has one on the 45 1.2. Yeah, I actually follow Vanessa Joy. I don't know if any of you do. I'm not into wedding photography, but I like the photography end of stuff that she talks about. Also looks like Dan Watson has a video too. But a Canon site, yeah, there really isn't. It's kind of funny how everybody else just does it for them. Rudy's out there. You got Rudy on the Canon USA, did a video.
I'm glad he's back.
I know. They probably brought him out of retirement. They're like, yeah, the kid, he just doesn't do it for us. So come back, Rudy.
I actually did a video about him when they let him go. I just thought that was not cool.
Well, do you know the reason? Was it retirement or was it?
No, I think the problem that they were having was related to just cutbacks. Business operation stuff. Not him at all. I mean, he's great. And I did as soon as I heard he got fired, I just did a piece, not really focusing on Canon layoffs, but how it touched somebody that, if you bought a Canon product, you've seen Rudy, and it was just kind of sad, right? And they brought him back, and he is back. So if you're watching, welcome back. I've always appreciated Rudy. Sorry, Rudy, I'm not trying to insult you, but I am tired. A few of you have commented on my health lately, and I seem to be having problems sleeping. It might be age-related. I don't know. I'll go to bed, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just I'm not tired, and just, I don't know. I don't know if working two jobs is part of it, but this I've thought of canceling this, and if I cancel this, because the days where I don't have videos to do, I'm thinking okay, what do I do? Walk the dog, did that. Go for a walk, did that. Watch TV, yeah, I'm done with that. My back hurts. Okay, go for another walk. And I love this. I love cameras. I love doing this sort of stuff. And let me see if I can find a picture I took of my son this. Did I move them?
Totally off topic, but on topic of what you just said. I actually went in for my first deep tissue, non-relaxing massage this morning that my wife bought me for an hour and a half. And it wasn't one of those where you're like, oh, I'm so relaxed. It was, she took her finger and shoved it up. No, just kidding. She took her finger and just shoved it into a muscle and kept it there for about 5 minutes at a time. And then just would relax the muscle. And I get back spasms. I used to play college tennis and I was pretty hard on my body. But it was I left kind of like, holy crap, I need to do this more often. So I'm actually going to go back for that. You should check into deep tissue and like where they take their little pressure points of their finger and just shove it into you. It's
I have
fun.
a guy who comes to my house and does that. Not stick his fingers in me. No, massage therapist.
Yeah, is it the homeless guy in the back alley?
No, he's really good. Like I met him. I was going to what do you call it? Like one of these physio places, and he was the massage person. And what I liked about it, because he's not like a really big.
And then you
buff
called
guy,
back, and they said he doesn't work here.
No. He has so much strength in his hands that he doesn't use his elbows. And like you get some of those people, they use their elbows. Like, hey, stop that. That's not fun. And so he could get a better massage. And then I found out, well, he has clients elsewhere. And so he used to have a lot of clients, but because of my back, I think he just feels bad for me. He actually comes to my house and does the massages every month or something, or whatever my benefits allow. So really happy with that. I see on Australia, it's $4,300. Robbie, that's with tax, right? Because the Canadian dollar and Australian dollar are pretty similar.
Jared, I actually have some information for you because you were asking what's the difference between the C50 and the R6 Mark III. So I was listening to Jordan over at Petapixels, and there's some of the key features is that there's only one RAW recording option in this one. So it's just full on RAW. There's no various forms of compressions.
Are you talking about in the R6 III?
Yes.
There's actually several types of RAW.
Maybe he has an earlier production, but the video that they just released, they were saying there was only one RAW option. So
they're only working with pre-production. I bet you anything. But no, there's
check out the Henry's video. The Henry's video that's going to come out probably now, dropped already. Henry's camera. Anthony made a video, and he talks about the different RAW formats. I don't know if it's exactly what you're talking about, James, but it might be.
I would imagine it would be similar to the R5 II, where there's like SRAW, like a 4K RAW version.
Yeah, and the other thing was that he said that regarding overheating, in 4K 60 fine, it overheated in 28 minutes.
Oh,
so it has 4K fine then?
Yes.
Nice.
The R5 II doesn't have 4K fine. 60.
Yeah, it makes me want to sell my R5 II and buy an R6 III. My gosh.
Well, that's what I said earlier, right? I said it's sounding like the R6 III. If this was 2020, or in 2020 when I was looking at buying the R6 or the R5 II, the R5 II was way better for video than the R6. It was just, don't even think about it. And it would take an hour to cool down.
R6 III is just, it's so close to the R5 II in a lot of ways. I know the sensor's not the same, but that's what I'm saying. It's just so close. Like you might as well the R6 III might be the better choice between the two.
For $100 less?
$1,000 less, not $100.
Sorry, I meant 1,000. Late.
You are tired. $100 less?
I hate it when I do that in a video and I just published it. It's like, oh God, no. I got to pull it. Are you trying to share something?
Yeah, I've got the Henry's video I was telling you about that shows the RAW.
Okay, so let's try to assign that to Brian. There we go. Can we hear you? Maybe I shouldn't have assigned it to Brian. Let's try there. And I think I just kicked Brian off.
Oh, man. You really didn't like what he had to say, huh?
No. Well, there's this video. So I love the software. It gives you a lot of options. So we've got Brian's screen, but no Brian. Yeah.
DP Review has a video on the 45, and it sucks. There's like barely any samples.
Yeah, but I wonder if these guys just had an hour with it, right? Because sometimes
they probably did. Let me take a picture of a leaf. Oh, this is the leaf at 1.2. It's pretty awesome.
It's very special.
Yeah, it makes me feel good inside because I know it's 1.2.
Yeah, sorry, Brian, I kicked you out.
Hey, this is your technology, man. I don't know.
No, it's Ecamm. I assigned your share to your spot, and it kicked you out, but your screen was playing for some odd reason.
Oh, well.
So
Anyway, yeah, I was just trying to share that video with James that if you check out the Henry's camera, Anthony has it posted already, so you can see his review. He's had the camera. He goes through quite a bit, talks about all the waffling and talks about all the video frame rates and stuff like that. Might be interesting.
All right. No, thanks, Brian, on that.
let's see if Camera Labs have it. No, I don't want the
Dan
best
Watson has a video on the camera.
Okay, Dan with a N, not a T. Watson, YouTube. So punchy, I'm getting tired. Let's go here. And I'm normally a bit more spry than I am, but I am fading, guys. There he is. Look at that. Now that's a professional looking setup there.
I thought Dan Watson had more than 205,000 subscribers.
He's in Florida. That's why it's hot there.
Yeah.
Why is there no closed caption? Oh, there we go. Because I haven't quite figured out how to get the audio to come through with us. That's something for me to figure out another day. I only do these videos when there's a camera announcement. The next one I'm waiting for is either a Nikon or a Sony.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it looks like it's a C50 in a different body with an EVF and IBIS for the most part.
Yeah, it just doesn't have a unlimited recording. Without overheating. Yeah.
You know what I can say?
Yeah.
After 10 years of wandering in the wilderness, from 2010 to 2020, both Canon and Nikon have caught up considerably in the mirrorless world. When the EOS R was announced in 2018, I was looking to buy a new camera, and I just thought, oh, Canon's got full frame, so I can use all my lenses, right? And the EOS R came out, and I'm going like, oh, it hasn't even caught up to Sony yet. And I was depressed because I realized there wasn't going to be another camera for 2-3 years in that space to replace it. Little did I know they were working on the R5, right? But
The
Sony
was pretty much the 5D Mark IV. You know, the same sensor pretty much put into a mirrorless body. And instead of going to the 5D Mark IV, I was like, well, I'm just going to go mirrorless and buy this.
Yeah, and for photos, it's a fine camera, but for video, it was just atrocious, like a 1.7 times
crop 4K. Yeah.
Oh, and then the R5 came out. I was just like, nobody believed it. People really ripped me too, because it's like, there's no way. What? Yeah, 8K, okay, and IBIS, okay, and autofocus. Yeah, right, guys, whatever. And then stuff.
And then I was like, Simon, see, it's all here.
Yeah. It was really, really. What's the best site to pre-order from? You know what? If you've got a local camera store, reach out to them. If you're thinking about it right now, look, in the United States, I've used B&H time and time again, partly because when you're buying out of country, they're so easy to work with. If you have any questions, they're closed now, but you can do video calls with them. You can do chat calls. I find the support's very good. Wex Photo seems pretty good in the UK, and as far as Germany or Europe goes, talking to those guys, I really got a very good impression with them. But you know, you got to support your local camera stores too. I buy stuff at the New Market, what's it called, Henry Store, or Downtown Camera in Toronto, and they're both local stores. Henry's is a chain, but Downtown is just a local small town store. Well, guys, we're coming up to the 1:30 mark, and it's 1:30 in the morning, and some of us are on Eastern time. So I want to give you a chance to say the last sort of thing on your mind, and then we can sign off, because I know am I turning red, or is that just the camera?
Probably the camera. I saw that Jan mentioned that this battery, the battery fan grip does work from the R5 II onto the R6 II. So I would be curious,
whoa,
is that 60p fine getting longer than 20 minutes when using the fan, and how much longer can you get? Because maybe that would be a better option then for video than the C50 in some situations, depending on the person, I guess.
I'm finally starting to come alive here. Okay, thank you very much, Stratos. So the readout speed on this camera is 13.5 milliseconds. So that's right between where the R5 and the R5 Mark I is. I think it's a good rate. I think it's perfect for this camera. What else do we have here? And feel free to jump in, Brian or James. I'm just trying to I'm kind of dropping the ball here, and I'm just trying to get back in. So EV, yeah, -3 to 20. That's what we had in the leaks. We got Canon RAW, HEIF, and JPEG, 14-bit depth and stills.
I'm kind of curious about the frame rates. So for photography, 32 megapixels, but it's 12 frames per second with the mechanical shutter.
Yeah.
You have other cameras doing 20 frames per second full RAW.
Yeah, but that's with electronic, you get 40.
Well, electronic shutter, they can go, that as well. So,
yeah.
But I'm talking about with mechanical shutter. It's interesting that they aren't up to that same speed.
Same with the R5. It's 12 or 14 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think
what I do like.
Sorry, I think outside of the R1, I think all of them are around that 12 frames a second in mechanical. Maybe it's a processor thing.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
it may be a processor thing that because it seems like every single one of them, 12 is like the max that they hit in terms of mechanical frames per second, mechanical shutter frames per second.
And I want to say thanks to Paul for the second super chat of the night. He says, I was hoping for a price of around 28.99 euros, including VAT, such as tilt screen like Sony. Yeah, you know what? I wish the R5 too had that Sony tilt screen too. I really do love the way that thing moves. I think they've still got the best tilt screen. And thanks for the good entertainment. That applies to all of us guys, and especially me. I'll go with the R5 too.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for that.
So yeah, thank you, Paul. Any other last comments too?
I like this last question we just see here. Talk about the real needs that photographers have these days. Gear don't matter anymore. Don't waste your money. What is the future of photography? That is the real problem. I love that. I'm not about buying the latest and greatest. I'm about buying the right tool for the job. Mm-hmm. And the future of photography is the creator, the mind. You can do so much with so little. And every year since the dawn of time, new cameras are going to come out, and they will continue to come out, and they will continue to have improvements that the McMarketing machine is going to tell you is the best thing since sliced bread. So I think the key is to understand photography, understand fundamentals, understand videography and fundamentals and storytelling. And with that, it doesn't matter what camera you use, you will always make the best work you can make. But obviously with new tools come new benefits. Like I wouldn't have bought a Z6 III if it didn't have the features that it has, the speed that it has, all the trickle down tech from the Z8 that it has. I wouldn't have needed to spend the $3,500 on a camera, right? So when a tool comes out that does what you need it to do as a creator, it doesn't matter how much it is, that's the right tool for the job. And that's all I have to say.
I've got to add to that, because everything you've said, I 100% agree, but I would say do this first, especially if you're thinking of doing a business. I did that with this channel. Come up with a vision. Like, where do you see yourself going with this, right? That 100%. Vision, it's so important because it helps you focus. It's not there to 100%. Handcuff you. Then set your goals and some objectives. Your objectives should be smart, because what that does is as you start your business and you go, oh, like for me, well, okay, I don't want to do rumors. I just did one video, but it's okay. Well, let's reevaluate. Let's look at, they're getting a lot more views. Okay, let's pivot. Let's take that opportunity. And it was not against my vision, but it refocused what I was doing in certain goals and objectives. And when you have a vision, goals, and objectives, then everything you do from there on, it kind of helps you plan where you're going. It's like, what was it, Tyson that said, everyone has a plan on you until you get punched in the face, but when you get punched in the face, you at least know where you're trying to go. And I think having that vision, goals, and objectives, and then thinking with your mind, what is it you're trying to achieve? Why are you doing this? What do you want to get out of it? Doing all that stuff Brian says, because I never thought, and Brian remembers the story, I wasn't trying to make it big. I wanted to be able to buy a new camera every 3 years, make $100 to $200 a month. But I ended up turning it into a real business. And you never know where things are going to take you, but
that was you, Simon. And this is really, it goes to what Craig even said, AI is destroying photography. It's not destroying photography. It's giving creators tools to make photography more accessible, but without the vision like you had starting your channel, without the creative understanding of what you want to create, who you are as a creator.
Mhm.
I am very self-aware, and I wasn't always, but now I'm extremely self-aware. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I'm only going to do the jobs that I enjoy doing, because I don't know anybody who gets into photography to be grumpy and pissed off. So, and that's my approach. Hashtag I shoot for me, right? Like, I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing has a purpose and makes me feel better about myself. And I think that's a takeaway that everybody should have before you buy a camera. It's not about, just having gas and wanting to spend money on gear. By all means, it keeps the economy going. I appreciate that. But at the same time, know what you're doing. Simon, you knew exactly what you were doing. You came in, you knew what you wanted, you knew a look you were trying to achieve, and then you honed and tweaked your system until you got where you wanted to go. And because of that, because of your persistence and your stick-to-itness, you are where you are today. So I give you all the credit in the world, not the camera that you used or the cameras you talked about or any of those things. It's all the creator and your hustle. You can be a technical guy. James, your technical savvy blows my mind. Like you know this stuff like nobody I know. You can be a super creative person. Like let's say Peter McKinnon, super creative. But when you have that technical and the creative and the hustle behind it, you are Peter McKinnon. You are Simon Yates. You are these guys that are out there making a living with your brain and your persistence. So I have a lot of respect for everybody out there who makes a living from their creativity. I have no doubt that AI is only going to help us, not hurt us. I use AI a lot, and it keeps me focused, and it keeps me it asks me questions that I hadn't thought to ask, which brings out my creativity more. So it's not cheating. And then I think it's important to distinguish between the two. You can have hustle, and you can have technical, and you can have creativity, and you can do anything you want to do. If you don't have those things, well, then
And that
AI is
comment,
just going to make AI images.
yeah, and that comment might have stemmed in the sense of AI creating things, because I created two or three, I can't even, it's sad that I don't even know, but 2 or 3 vertical shorts on YouTube, 100% AI, and I've had over 1,000 views on each of them. And all I did was make the prompt and everything. But what people really want is authenticity, and the authenticity they get from people like Peter McKinnon is that Peter McKinnon is creating authentic, original stuff and telling a story that is about him, and he's not just creating something, fabricated that's not part of his life. And that's what people are looking for. They want authenticity, and AI can't give you that. I do use AI, but AI is usually in the sense that you're using it as well. So you're using it for more prompting creativity and stimulating it in a certain way and coming up with ideas and bouncing things off. And that's kind of how I utilize it. And I don't utilize it to create something that is original to AI, but something that will motivate me to create something from myself. And I think that is, in a roundabout way, what people want. They want authenticity. And eventually we're going to see that the authentic is going to succeed on YouTube and these platforms, and the unauthentic people are going to get bored with the what is it? The faceless channels. People want to relate to us. They have chimed into here because we can actually have a conversation. We're our own opinions. No algorithm can make that up. We are us, and that's what people like.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
love
I
that.
just want to jump in. Sorry.
Love that.
Andrea Pizzini from Sony Alpha Rumors has just joined us in the chat, and he's told us that the Sony A7 IV is coming before Christmas. This man, when he says it's coming and it's not wild rumors, you can take it to the bank. He is one of the most accurate guys out there. So, yeah, I thanks, Andrea. I guess on Friday or Saturday I'll have a video I'll have to record. But, Brian, thank you, because it's that creative side. I forgot some of those conversations I had with you. All I really focus on is news and rumors now and patent applications, and that I've got 63,000 subscribers just doing that. That's awesome that I've been able to make a good income doing this is still a shock. When I remember I got terrified because I had a really, really good month with the 200 to 800. And I panicked because I knew with the CRA, if you had more than 50K and you didn't file a HST or something, you got into trouble. So I called a corporate attorney. I got incorporated. I then called an accountant and said, we got to do my taxes. And, it was just slow, and then kind of exploded. And, guys, have a vision, and just try to enjoy some of those moments and capture some of the moments so you can look back on it later going like, my God, that I did that. And we can't all become Peter McKinnons. I mean, I know he's right around here too. And I've met people come to the house, do service on the house. Oh yeah, Peter's my friend. And Peter won't talk to me because I'm here. I'm here. Peter's
He's a great
here.
guy.
I can tell.
Pete's a great guy. He just has everybody coming to him. Like I worked with him
course.
for 2 years, and I hung out with him. We shot a lot. He gave me that camera bag right there. But
That's
you know,
awesome.
he's super busy. He's
Yeah.
super busy. I'm trying to get him to come into the store to talk about the whole line of Peter McKinnon bags that we have there. But
You let me
I just
know.
want to talk about quickly.
Yeah.
No. He's coming after hours, so he
Oh.
won't come during the day.
Okay.
Anyway, I saw somebody make a comment about why pay for a photo when you can just text an AI thing. You know what, guys? I like making photos.
Yeah.
I like
It's
it.
fun.
I enjoy it. I enjoy the process of going out and changing my shutter speed to make motion blur and, to have techniques to create a certain image. I don't care how long AI is going to be out there. I still will like making images. So I use fire in my photos, and it's actual fire. I light things on fire, and I take pictures of that. I don't clone in AI fire. You can do these things, so why not do them?
Speaking of fire.
Regarding to Greg, that was Greg's post, and I was about to try to answer. I think it says why pay for it, because at the end of the day, and I think Jared hit it. Honestly, y'all all killed it. I just want to say that on terms of the AI discussion. For me, it's just like I've everybody I've talked to regarding AI, it's like they have a fear, but then when I talk about it, it's like when you sit there and you look like it's AI. Yes, it's great, and yes, it's definitely stepped away, but there's still something that just doesn't feel real about it. There's still a hollowness to it. There's when something that just doesn't have a soul, you could sort of tell because it hasn't had that feeling of burst through. And I think it's just like at the end of the day, people still want authenticity. Like I'm a big NBA, and actually during this whole stream, I've been watching the Spurs Lakers sort of first Lakers game.
Oh man, you weren't even with us. I thought we were having an authentic moment, and you
Actually,
totally
hold on.
missed
Let me
it.
just interrupt. Let me just interrupt for a second. You know this.
Jared, I love you, man. But the point I'm trying to make is that I love watching NBA and I love reading up on sports, but nothing drives me more insane when I can clearly see somebody just put in a prompt for AI and put in a bunch of videos and then use AI voice and then put it up. And it's like I can tell when one of those NBA or sports highlight or sports coverage topics comes up and it's clearly fully AI, and I can feel the emptiness of it. And at the end of the day, it's just like people want authenticity. People, at the end of the day, human beings are social beings. We are social beings. We want to connect. Even though majority of us are introverts, especially in this space.
Thanks, Greg.
But we still want some sort of connection to other people and to other things. And having a connection just still means authentic. And it's just, to me, all AI is going to do is going to weed out the people who really care and are really about this life. Mm-hmm. Like Brian was saying, it's like he loves his whole process. I love the process of finding a lens that speaks to me. I love the process of, especially since I've got EL Zone on my FX3, and I'm able to see now how stops work. I love lighting and lighting my studio and stuff and figuring out how does changing lightings here and there affect my feeling of the scene or affect what I'm trying to shoot, and sort of how to tone that message. That I love. Not everybody in this business is about that. Some people still feel, even though this is a creative space, a lot of people just still feel like this is work and this is job, and that's okay. But I think AI is going to weed out who is going to be here, who really cares about it, and
Get
who's
off your
really
couch.
authentic.
Get off your couch.
And
The
who's not-
video that I was
and-
showing you with the fire, that was because I was out testing a firmware update in the field and a forest fire broke out. And I was there about 20 feet from it. I had the 100 to 500 with me. And my son's saying, Daddy, there's a fire. And like, yeah, I'm testing a lens. Don't bother me. Not thinking it's a real fire. And sure enough, it was a 3-alarm fire. And it was all dry. It was spring. So the thing took off. We have 50-foot flames. And the excitement you get from doing that, oh my God, something's happening. And of course, I go into, journalist mode, thinking like, I'm going to get up close as long as it doesn't singe the lens. And it was amazing to get that close. I've never been close to a fire before, not like that. And it was something else. And one thing I learned too, Brian, is that when you've got a long lens like that on the camera, you don't have to go that police line that says do not cross. That doesn't apply to you. You're there with the police and the fire department, and you can go wherever you want. It's one of the advantages of having a camera with a nice lens. But
So
look,
true.
it's almost 2:00, guys. I know we all have jobs in the morning. I'm trying to head off to Photo Vision, Photo Fusion. Don't even know what I'm saying anymore. And while I can still speak English in a half intelligible way, I want to say once again, Jared, thank you for joining me from
Thanks
the
for
great
having
state
me.
that you come from, just 10 hours away from here. A state of confusion. It's always a pleasure having you here. Guys, again, Jared Hoyman, great videos, really great personality and sense of humor. He's even funnier on his channel. James Jackson Films, a lot of technical insight there as well. Again, this is a person who does this day in and day out all day long. And Brian Weiss, day tripper, as well as if you're in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, check out Henry's in Newmarket. And just ask to speak to Brian. He's been there I was young when I first started going to Henry's. And
19 years now. 19 years.
yeah. So
And check out the weekly Briangle report on Henry's YouTube starting this Wednesday.
yes. And thank you, everybody, Craig and others for the super chats. Very much appreciated. Enjoy your new cameras. I don't think you'll have to wait too long. I'm going to bed, and hopefully I'll get to have my hands on these cameras tomorrow.
Have a good night, and thank you, Simon, for having me.
Thank you, James.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simon.
Have a good night.
Thanks for everyone for watching as well.
Cheers,
Yeah,
guys.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.